a huge amount of time, and it's the reason why we decided to pull the bids out the first time they were out, because we found out that some of these bus companies have their own software. They could have done this. However, the problem is they said it'll take us a couple of months to get this done. So if I were to contract with anybody else to do this for us, imagine what the labor cost would be on 2 months worth of work. It's going to be $13,000 or more. And anytime we want to change the bus routes, we'll have to go to those consultants and say, here's another chunk of money for you to play with it. So I'm saying that this is one of those places where we're putting in part of our staff time to keep the cost low, to realize a bigger savings than what we're putting out. To me, this is an investment.
But we're still going to have costs because we're going to have our employees on the clock. So we're still incurring, at least first year, data entry wise, we're incurring probably a $10,000 salary bump because of this also. I would tend to think of 2 months worth of data entry, 2 people or 3, however many people you got doing it.
The data entry actually is
ours.
It's ours. That's an export from one program to another. So it's the manipulation of the bus stops. What other school districts told us is that they had originally done a consultant model, but they had problems moving their bus stops around because the consultants don't necessarily know the demographics. If you look on Google Maps, Charlotte White, the corner of Charlotte White and Route 88 looks like a great place to have a bus stop. You guys can handle the phone calls if that ever got posted in the paper. You know, so it's those kinds of things that when you control it yourself, you can move around. It lets you know where all the registered sex offenders live, and so that you can place your bus stops away from those. And there's lots of pieces to it that,
Mike?
Well, again, I'll just reiterate, we've used a consultant to prepare for putting out the bids. We spent some money on a consultant. We chose not to have software involved in that report. We have a transportation contract ready to be awarded. We have all the data, as Beth just indicated. It's exportable, so we know where our stops are. We know where the students are. I think it's an expense that
we know where our students live. Not. I mean, I guess somebody knows where the stops are. I'm just saying, as far as where each student lives and what grade they're in, so that you can.
I'm
but
pretty sure the drivers know where the stops are.
Well, the bus companies know that.
Yeah.
And I don't see a need for expending that money that we don't have for transportation and for bullying software when it's still it's. In the case of the transportation bid, it's just the contract's just been put to bed. And in case of bullying, it's changing legislation that we don't know what our requirements will be, and I think it's premature to invest in software for that at this time.
The bullying piece of that, as I said, was the Macomber and the elementary school just adding on to the discipline module. They don't have it because, quite frankly, they had so few. They don't do detentions, and they had so few suspensions that it wasn't worth getting it. But with the being able to track the bullying, keeping it all in one place, and having a way to collate the reports that, like this committee asked for last week, how many happened in December. You'd be able to pull that all from one place.
Well, we only have 23, though. I mean, I have to jump on with Mike, at least for the transportation. I'm swaying a little bit.
But I can also say that with that discipline software, now we can put in the suspensions that the few that we have, any other discipline incidents. But the price tag on that is about $3,000. The rest of this is support and a webinar subscription training for our new assistant principals that are coming on, and any other secretarial staff that happen higher.
Okay, I think we've talked the software to death. So what I'd like to do is go through each item and entertain a motion from somebody on each. So starting with the software services for HR, subs, and PD. Is there a motion?
That's already been approved.
Oh, I'm sorry. It has, I penciled right over it. Sorry,
Even though we talked about it.
But that wasn't approved. Mike's comment
See, I thought I
was,
had an H
don't
I know, you don't
recall.
recall, but somehow it's written approved, so has it been approved or
No,
it hasn't?
It was spoken
I
of
have
in
an
a
H here.
workshop.
I know I had an H here.
I have an age.
There's no minutes that reflect approval of that.
Okay.
All right, so starting with HR, subs, and PD, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to remove the hold.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I,
All right, on to MMS. Is there a motion? Anybody? Either motion to approve, to remove the hold or,
I'll make a motion to remove the hold.
okay, is there a second?
I'll second it for the sake of discussion.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I would just say, as I said when we started this, I know that the numbers don't jive. There are things on this list that we would not be able to purchase. And looking ahead, I think that this might be one, as far as I'm concerned, that we could live without. That's just my position.
Just so you know, some of this we'll have to pay for anyway this year, or next year, actually. So it's just a matter of moving it into this year versus next year, but some of this we'll have to pay anyway.
There's 6,000 that we would be paying for anyway. That's our annual support cost.
discussion.
Go ahead.
Is
Yeah, it's
discussion,
still in
I
discussion.
call
Yeah.
for the vote.
Okay, vote to, the motion on the floor is to remove the hold on the MMS program. All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Michelle, I'm
Yep.
sorry, did you?
Motion approved, the filter, 7,400.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion approved, the one call, 3,700.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Transportation,
I'll make a motion to remove the hold.
is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just like to say this is a tough one. I think Mr. Larrabee said that. I agree with that. And I'm just going to fall back on the fact that the professionals have done their due diligence, and I trust that. And I think that the amount of money that we spend on this will be seen later as a return on investment. So I'm going to support that.
Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor to remove the hold on transportation? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
East Sped, is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wonder, is that all or none, or is there a way to phase that expense in?
All or none. It's a service for the special ed IEPs and 504s combined.
And it covers 1 year?
I think this is it too.
And
So
again,
can we be expending money for
Once-
services that we're
once the
going to be
conversion,
not using until next year and the year after? I know we talked about consultants, we cannot do that, but can we with services software?
Because you're buying a contract.
you get a
and it-
discount when you do
Yeah.
that too. And you should
I
also,
just caution the purchasing requirements of services software for the years.
It's different than the consultants, because the minute you have access to the software, you can use it. You can't say a consultant, I'm going to use you and continue to use you from now till 2 years from now. You would have to have the access right then and there.
Any other discussion on this one? Okay, Okay, the motion on the floor is to remove the hold on East Bed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And on to EduVision. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor to remove the hold on EduVision?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And on to, did you get all those, Karen, all the software?
The only one I'm concerned about is the MMS. Did you?
That one was not
That was
That was a no.
approved.
That was not, so.
No, we said hold.
Okay.
Said again, no,
I
you
just
probably-
wanted
I
to
believe
make
that
sure.
was unanimous, not.
That's what I had, but I
Mhm.
wanted to be sure.
On to computers.
I put a hold on that because I'm under the impression that we could use more laptops, and I was looking to actually increase that amount to back up my discussion previously, and knowing some are on there, so that was my,
I would maybe entertain a motion to take the 1660 from the MMS and move it to computers.
I would love to do that, but I'm also we're trying to shave some money here for mats, and if we're almost at a breaking point here where we're gonna be voting ourselves right out of some mats. And that's more of a safety issue than,
How about,
Let me ask you this, if, again, because we're not at June 30th, the mats I know may or may not get here by June 30th, so we may not be able to buy them.
but if we have a purchase order purchasing them and they just haven't been delivered because the UPS ground takes 3 weeks.
no, it's like the trucks. If you have them customized, you own them. If you're going to have them printed, you purchase them and send them for the
You
customization.
So if
gotta
we had Westport Middle School printed on them, I think if we bought them and had them customized for Westport Middle School or Westport High School Wildcats,
You have to receive.
do we still fall under
You
the?
have to receive ownership. And you don't receive ownership until you have them in hand and you have a delivery slip. The truck, the reason why you can do that is because we can receive the actual title or the purchase title of the truck. So it's like, you can get the title of the truck expressed overnight and then say, take the truck to the shop to get the work done on it. We'll pay for the work the next fiscal year, but you can't do that with the mats.
I would tend to, they're not really, I mean, they're standard mats. I would hope that we'd be able to buy mats in 2 weeks that, they might not be mounted on the walls by Mr. Dewar, but I would at least like to go down fighting and say, hey, we just couldn't get them in.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you give me a priority this over that,
Right.
if there is money available the last week and we can't get the mats, can we get the other things?
so, I mean,
I'd be willing to entertain something like that, yes, like if we can't get the mats, then we throw in
Add the- maybe to the
16,000
notebooks.
towards more notebooks, netbooks. I'd love to do something like that. That way the kids are
I
reaping
can-
the benefits both ways.
Because right now I have no information whatsoever on the
That's fine.
mats.
And
it
Mr.
just,
Donovan
it's kind
can
of
get
scary.
rolling tomorrow and find some mats immediately, and if they can't be done within the 2-week time frame, I think we could have a motion that if whatever monies are allotted for mats can go towards netbooks, and instead of getting 30 netbooks, we get 45 netbooks, or whatever it comes out to, or
Because we may be
60
able to get
netbooks, or
them
100 netbooks.
FedEx.
so I would entertain a motion that would state to remove the hold from computers with the potential of adding the 16.6 to it if
We
the
can't get the
purchase
mats.
order of the mats does
Absolutely.
not come through.
I'm good with that.
Is that a so moved?
So that's a so moved,
Second.
in my own
Any
language.
discussion on the motion on the table? All those,
Uh,
I'm
Did that
sorry.
satisfy you, Michael?
It starts to become more complicated
Yeah, it
than
does.
my simple approach to things wants to go. But I want to see some more computers in the classroom, so I'll let it stand.
Did you have a comment?
That sounded like that was going to cover 15 mats, and priority would be the middle school.
I would say the middle school.
Middle
because they
school's
have
got to be the
Yeah,
priority,
okay.
because that, there's a
it's
corner.
weird.
There's 2 corners that are
Yep.
exposed
Several,
that,
actually.
I'm happy with that.
where do
Yeah.
when people